On this episode of the Exactly How podcast and YouTube show, we're going to show you exactly how to find pre-REOs, how to take ownership of these notes, and how to make cash flow each and every day from a new lead source called pre-REOs on this episode of Exactly How.
You're listening to the Exactly How podcast, where you'll hear the underground, closely guarded wealth building secrets of successful people around the globe. Discover exactly how to improve your mental, physical, and financial health. Feel better, make more money, live, give, and prosper in today's exciting, fast-paced world filled with opportunity for those who know exactly how.
Hello and welcome everyone to the Connected Investors podcast and YouTube show, Exactly How. During this episode, you're going to discover exactly how to make money buying and selling pre-REOs. This is something we have never talked about, and I would say almost no one knows about at all. This is a whole new kind of asset class tied into real estate and notes. I'm so excited to share this with you. For those of you who are new, my name is Ross Hamilton, today's host and CEO of ConnectedInvestors.com. Today we have the privilege to learn from a man who has created one of the most successful crowdfunding portals in America. I personally invest there and I love everything he does there. We'll talk about that a little bit, not the topic of today's show. But prior to this, our guest's career in real estate, he used to race bikes professionally, the road bikes. So that all changed when he was competing at one of the highest levels in this sport and he wasn't making any money. He had a GED, had to figure out what to do. So he found real estate. I would describe our guest as resilient. And today I'd like to introduce you to the one and only Jorge Newberry. Jorge, thanks so much for jumping on the line here.
Hey Ross, thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're really excited to learn all about pre-REOs, and deal flow is the number one thing people are struggling with. So hopefully this is really going to solve some people's problems that are on the line here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So before we dive into exactly how to find and buy these pre-REOs, Jorge, you contribute a lot of your success to reinventing yourself. Why do you think that's played such a big role in your success?
Sure. Lots of times, I always say you learn more from your failures than your successes. So try something, fails, iterate, change, iterate until you find the path that works. I mean, that's like everything in life's that way. And the goal, I've been good. I think one of my attributes is not getting discouraged when the first or second or third iteration fails. And you're saying, this just isn't working. And other people would say, hey, let's cut our losses. Let's move on. And I would say, no, there's something here. It's something here. Let's, it's the 5th, 6th, 7th, 10th iteration. All of a sudden you say, hey, now we're in the fast lane and this thing's working. But all my businesses are like that. And you just have to keep slugging it out till you gain some traction.
Yeah, exactly. And you have a lot of, we were talking about your resilience and your drive. You wrote a book kind of about your whole story. What's the title of that book?
Burn Zones.
Burn Zone. There you go. I'll make sure to have that book in the notes for this episode that you can find at exactlyhow.com. And I will say this, any successful person is 100% guaranteed to fail their way to success. Like everyone who's successful, they always have all these stories of things that they tried and didn't work out. So if you've failed before and you've tried something, congratulations, you're on the right path. It's crazy to think, but it's guaranteed that you're going to fail your way to success every time. So don't get discouraged when you see what Jorge has accomplished and all of the challenges he's had to overcome. You'll realize why that is a very, very important lesson to kind of keep telling yourself over and over again. So what makes the Exactly How Financial Freedom podcast and YouTube show very unique is it comes with an action plan. We're going to pull all the information out of our guest's head and make sure you can connect the dots to success and implement exactly what we're showing on the call. So if you have any questions throughout this and you're on YouTube, please go ahead and type it below, comment, let us know, engage, thumbs up. Your interaction really drives us. So in addition to finding all of the cliff notes for this training and the videos and everything you need at exactlyhow.com, you'll also be able to pick up all of the free resources and gifts. And Jorge has a really awesome free gift that we're going to be giving out throughout this presentation. I'll share it with you in a second. But anyone can go there right now and throw their name into the hat to win our PIN software. This is a $3,000 value that pinpoints the most highly motivated sellers in any nation and shows you all of the most active real estate investors. So if you're watching this on YouTube Live or Facebook Live, go to exactlyhow.com right now, throw your name into the hat, because we're going to announce a winner shortly. And we're also giving away my book right here, The Insider's Guide to Funding Real Estate Investments. This is a book that you don't have to go to Barnes & Noble and pay 20 bucks for or buy it on Amazon. You can go right to exactlyhow.com and download this and learn all the ins and outs of funding investment real estate. So I'm really excited about this call here, George. Let's go ahead and jump right into it, if that's fair. And let's define what a pre-REO is.
Okay, a pre-REO is a mortgage secured by a property that is vacant. And there's millions of these across the country. But usually the current owner is the former homeowner. And many a times they owe more than the property's worth. And now the properties there are vacant. Lots of times it can be in poor condition, sometimes vandalized, subject of code enforcement complaints from the city and all these things. And you talked about earlier that a big problem for real estate investors is supply, getting a constant supply. But I'll tell you, a big problem for lenders is this massive supply of mortgages secured by these vacant homes across the country. And that's what Pre-REO is trying to solve.
Yeah, and the mortgage companies to hold these, there's a lot of liability there. It's not only costing them money, their house is getting beat up, it's getting vandalized. If it's wintertime, I mean, there's all sorts of expenses they have to incur. So the wintertime is always the best time, in my opinion, to negotiate with a bank. Would you kind of agree with that, George?
Absolutely. Year end, 12/31, get it done. If you can get stuff done by year end, that's great. If not, January, February, March, also great months. Things are moving slow. Now they're having to pay for snow removal, having to pay to winterize the properties. Even in the spring and summer, now you're paying for grass cutting. So with Pre-REO, we're trying to we found a way for local investors to buy these mortgages, help take control of the properties, repair them, rent them, all during the foreclosure period. So it solves a big problem. So the banks, they're willing to give you these properties, sell these notes at a discount because it's going to, in the end, it's going to be better than the recovery after they spend all this money holding the property.
So let me just kind of put this into terms that a lot of our subscribers might understand. If you're part of Connected Investors, we're always talking about finding motivated sellers, right? Getting to deals pre-MLS. These are motivated sellers, but the seller is the bank. We've never been able to bring you this type of lead source before until today, right here. So this is a very exciting call for me personally, and you should be pumped as well, because this gets you in front of everyone else. While everyone else is hustling, trying to call the person who owns that vacant house, you're able to deal directly through the bank and kind of go around everyone. So I just want to make sure to grab you by the shoulders and shake you, just to let you know how important this is. When I saw it, I was absolutely blown away. And I was like, George, we have to get you on this podcast, because I never even heard of this type of opportunity until today. And there's some complexities there, but George is going to break it down and show you exactly how to find these pre-REOs. So George, I know people are pumped about this. Let's just go ahead and we've defined pre-REOs. Before we jumped on the line here, we talked about the steps, and there's more than 3 steps for this. So the steps are high level: to find it. We're going to show you how to do that. To buy the note, to repair it, to rent it, then to foreclose on it, and then you have title.
And add one quick step: before you repair and rent it, you need to appoint a receiver. That's the key. That's the key link to allowing you to do these things while the foreclosure is still going.
Okay, good. That's why I have an expert on the line here. I didn't bold that item, and I could have missed the most important step. All right, George. So we're going to talk about finding it real quick, and I'm actually going to kind of lead this conversation to begin with, because what we've done at Connected Investors is we recently acquired a web asset called Loan MLS. And this is a place where you can go to buy and sell notes at loanmls.com. I'll make sure to have a link and probably have a pop-up in the video right here. And what we're doing is we're populating this new, almost secret marketplace with all of these pre-REO deals that George has been able to negotiate directly with the bank. And we're talking about hundreds and hundreds of these deals all around the United States. And what I'll do is I'll have in post-production here, I'll have a list come up that you'll be able to see as I'm talking here of all of these deals. And you can go right to loanmls.com, and across the top, you'll see pre-REOs, and you can click on that and you can start to kind of go through all of these different pre-REOs. Okay, so Loan MLS, click the Pre-REO button at the top. It is free for you because you're a Connected Investors member and because I want you to be successful. So visit loanmls.com, tap that button. Again, all of this information will be at exactlyhow.com as well. So George, people are going to be able to access these pre-REO deals directly through you and your company. But if someone was like, you know what, for whatever reason, I don't like bike riders, I don't want to deal with I don't want to deal with George. How would someone, possibly be able to access these pre-REOs on their own? You don't have to give us your whole business model, but just high level. I mean,
it's really tough. We're trying to create a program, pilot a program right now, prove that this works, and then we're going to go to the biggest lenders in the country, and hedge funds, lenders, banks, and say, hey, we know you have this problem. Here's a way to solve it. And then we bring in just more and more. Then it's hundreds turned into thousands. But right now we have hundreds, and they're across the country. And we're pitching. You go to lenders and servicers and point out that they're at a disadvantage. The local guy always has an advantage. For a change, the local guy who's near this property has a complete advantage. They know they can get contractors, help work with the receiver, help A, find a receiver that's cost effective, B, that receiver can find local contractors with the mortgage holder's help that are cost effective. They can make sure they get a qualified tenant who's going to pay their rent. They could even do things like rented Airbnb. I mean, it's not just has to be a tenant, could be a tenant, but if you say, oh, this is a perfect Airbnb, you could run it during the receivership and the foreclosure as an Airbnb rental. And in the meantime, complete the foreclosure. But what's killing lenders, especially on some of these lower value properties, is that time, that year and a half sometimes that it takes to foreclose, and it's already vacant. They're just saying this is crazy, but they have to go through the legal process. So what we're trying to do is what we've done is we found a way that an investor, a pre-REO investor, can earn revenue during the foreclosure process. It makes sense to take care of the property. There's a tenant there, the grass is getting cut, the snow's getting removed, all those things that take away value are exactly now they're adding the value, so that the local has an advantage. Your investors have an advantage.
Yeah. So let me just jump in here, and we didn't give much of a background on you, but if you've been part of Connected Investors for a while, George is someone we bring on over and over again. He buys thousands and thousands of notes. He understands that whole world in his crowdfunding at AHP. Is it AHP Invest?
Currently, it's AHP Servicing.
AHP Servicing. So he has a servicing company as well, and everything he does is to the nines. He definitely goes all in. So this is George said, how do you find it? Well, you have to have relationships, high level relationships with banks, and you have to be able to promise them the ability to execute. So the average investor just on the ground, you can't. You really, unless you have a big organization or you're connected to a conglomerate of massively funded organizations with hundreds of millions of dollars, you can't really do this. So that's why this is so exciting. You can just go to loanmls.com, click the pre-REO button, and you're up and running. So you talked about you started throwing out some kind of vocabulary there. Don't worry. We're going to explain this whole process, and it will be very, very easy for you. So to find it, step one, you know how to find it. Step number two is to buy the note and become the mortgage holder. George, if you were talking to someone who had never done real estate before, can you just explain what that means?
Sure. You're buying the mortgage. So many of us, if you own a property or own rental property, you have a mortgage. So you're basically buying that. So somebody owes $100,000 on their home. You're buying that piece of debt, which usually is documents including a note, a promissory note, and a deed of trust or a mortgage that's recorded on the property. And there's some supporting documents. So you're buying that and all the rights that go along with that, which include the ability to appoint a receiver, to repair and rent the property if it's been vacant and abandoned, and then foreclose on the property to eventually get title.
Okay, so you're buying the note, you're not buying the property, which means you don't have title to it, but you can do whatever you need to with it because the person has left the property. Now, can you just explain how does someone kind of do title on something like this? Someone who's brand new, how do they know they're buying what they're buying? Because you're buying the good and you're buying the bad.
Sure.
So how do people ensure they're not buying the bad?
Sure. Well, I mean, these are all distressed. They're all not paying. So I guess arguably they're all bad. But, you know,
well, I'm talking about like other liens or judgments or something like that.
Yeah, but you're taking a problem and bringing a solution. So yes, you're typically the first mortgage, or all the ones that we're offering as pre-REOs are first mortgages. So there's usually a lender policy that was taken out in origination. Now, to your point, subsequent to the taking out that loan, they could have taken a second mortgage. They could have gotten judgments recorded against them. They could have, you know, for unpaid credit cards or child support, any of those things could have happened. But the first mortgage still is first. And they can, once they foreclose, they can typically extinguish everything. And so so they can run a title report. And usually as part of the foreclosure, the attorney will run a title report because they need to name, if the IRS has a lien, they need to name them and serve them. So all that will happen. So it may have already been run and we make it available. If it's not been run, then the investor is welcome to run it on their own or work with with a law firm to get it done, or a title company. We can connect. We work with a law firm that can coordinate these services in almost across the country. Okay. And so which should be a big help. And I think that's a key component to pre-REO, is not just trying to explain it to, I can imagine buying a note and then going to a local attorney saying, hey, yeah, this is what we're going to do. And they're like, you know, what are you talking about? So we have one law firm in DC, which connects with attorneys across the country, which can assist to get these receiverships filed, which is a key component. So that's how it works. So they're getting those documents, the title. Again, the first mortgage foreclosure will typically always clean title. The only things that can remain are unpaid property taxes, which are something that they want to be aware of and recognize those may need to be taken care of at the closing. Also, if there's code enforcement, in some jurisdictions, code enforcement liens may take priority. So if while the bank owned it, there was grass cutting done or snow removal or other types of work, they could take a priority lien, which would then, in most cases, the taxes and the priority liens could be, sellers will typically give credit at the closing for. So if you agree to buy it for $25,000 and there's $1,000 in taxes and liens, they'll say, hey, give us $24,000. You take responsibility for those taxes and liens.
Okay, good. But with the title search, someone would be going into it with eyes wide open.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They know what's going on.
I just want to make sure that, you know, everyone here is able to properly evaluate this different type of deal. And no, you have to do your own due diligence. You know, George and I do a lot of business together, but I'm not looking at his deals. I'm not saying you should buy these. So make sure you have an attorney kind of look over this for you. So step one, step two, relatively easy, right? We're talking about split seconds here to kind of get that done. We'll make sure to have the attorney recommendations in the show notes and in the description of this video. By the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, the description of this video has tons of links in it, tons of stuff you definitely need to look at. So make sure to hit the more button to kind of see everything in the YouTube video there. You can do that while we're going over these next few steps. Now, this is the step that when George and I were talking about this at a meeting we had out in Florida, I kind of scratched my head a little bit. Step 3 is to appoint a receiver. So George, 4th grade level, what's a receiver? How do you appoint it? Who are these people? How much does it cost? Right?
Sure. Good questions. So a receiver is appointed by the court. It can just about be anybody who's qualified to do this, and that qualified could be fairly broad. But they must be court appointed. So the court is basically saying that this person is taking responsibility for this property and is empowered to do several things. One is to repair the property. The next one is to rent the property, pay taxes and other expenses on the property, turn the water in under their name, those types of things. And the receiver will then, on a monthly basis, they can spend money, they can collect money, and they will provide a periodic accounting to the court for money spent. And that's basically what happens. There's supposed to be a neutral party between the homeowner and the lender. But they're basically, and that is the case, and they're looking out for this property, which is many times at risk of deteriorating. They can go to court and say, hey, this is a blight, this is something that it makes sense because the homeowner has abandoned it to appoint me and allow me to repair and rent the property. And that's what happens.
Let me ask you a question. Let's say someone finds the note, they buy the note, they appoint a receiver. Well, I have some other receiver questions in a second, but let's say the homeowner decides to come back and is like, hey, Russ, I want my property back. You would then say, well, guess what? You owe me tons of money, right? Is that kind of how it works?
Absolutely. They'd owe the principal. Presumably all these pre-REOs are being sold at discounts to principal and discounts to value as well, plus all the back payments, plus any legal fees typically.
So that would be a dream. That's what you
That would be a dream. Exactly. That would be a big win. The homeowner, so when the attorney who requests the appointment of the receiver goes to court, before they do that, they're going to send a notice and serve the homeowner and say, hey, this is happening in court on such and such day and time. If you want to, they request that they come in. Most of the times they probably won't show, hey, I'm done with this property, I'm not going in there. But they could show up. But if they show up, then, they have options. They could either say, hey, I'm done with this. Maybe they'll even talk about signing a deed in lieu, which would be even easier way to get title to the property and eliminate the foreclosure. But they may, theoretically, they could say, hey, I want to reinstate. But as you said, it could be really expensive, and that would result in a big win for the investor.
Gotcha. All right. So the receiver, again, you appoint this random do you have some guidance when someone goes through you on the receivers to appoint?
Sure. So in general, receivers are very expensive. We've hired receivers, and I've had receivers hired against me who on properties where I was being foreclosed on years ago, and they'll run up expenses very high. They're mostly only used on bigger commercial multifamily properties. It's very rare to see a receiver on a house, on a single family residence. But what we've done at AHP and AHP Servicing is, upon occasion, when we've seen a property owners renting out a property, and we're saying, okay, they're renting out the property, they're not paying the mortgage. This happens all the time. And so we can appoint a receiver, which will usually be, we used real estate agents. So the real estate agent will say now, okay, they'll get a court order that says the tenant has to pay the rent to the real estate agent. So now all of a sudden the property owner is saying, wait, maybe I'll do a deed in lieu, because you cut off their income stream. So now we're taking that example. We can use a real estate agent, a contractor, property management company owner, basically anybody with some kind of real estate experience who can be appointed, and the lender can say, hey, this is the person that I want. It could be, they can't be like somebody's wife, but they need to be independent, but they could be a real estate agent that they're friends with, that they know, for instance.
Great. And George, I might pick your brain a little bit after this call, and at exactlyhow.com in the show notes.
Sure.
That's why it's important you ask questions here at the YouTube channel, or on the Facebook. YouTube primarily is the place to go. I'm actually, those notifications go right to my phone. Huh. Facebook, I get too much. So go on YouTube. If you have questions, make sure to put the questions in there. Look in the show notes, because we'll make sure to have some different information there. And this is really exciting. Before we get into the next step, which is repair the property, I want to announce the winner of the pre-MLS software we call PIN. This software shows you all of the vacant houses, all of the houses that have been inherited, all of the motivated for sale by owners, and 7 other, off-market deal sources out there. You can get direct contact info of the homeowners, phone number and email address. So this is a $3,000 value that the winner of today's software is. They went to exactlyhow.com and they commented on some of our stuff. Before we move on, here's a word from our sponsor.
Looking for a private money partner to fund your flips or rentals? Go direct to the source. PrivateLenders.com. A free marketplace that instantly matches you with up to 5 private money lenders to save thousands by having non-bank lenders compete to be your funding partner. PrivateLenders.com.
Dave Gallagher. Dave, congratulations. Our team is going to get you all set up to win. But in just a few more steps here, coming up with an idea in my head, George, I want to give away a Connected Investors shirt. I got one right here. I ordered a few more. People always see me rocking this thing.
Nice.
So just a few moments, I'm going to announce how you can win a Connected Investors shirt of your own. Okay. So we talked about finding it. We talked about the notes, the appointing the receiver. Now you kind of have this limbo ownership of the property to where you can rent it, you can repair it, but you can't sell it, right? You cannot.
Yeah, generally it's generally you'd want to complete the foreclosure in order to get title and get clean title, as you described before, where there may be liens or judgments. Those will typically be extinguished best through a foreclosure.
Okay. Okay. So you can basically do everything except for sell the property. And this is the next few steps.
And to be clear, it's not the mortgage holder, but the receiver on behalf of the mortgage holder or at the request of the mortgage holder can do all these things. Key component. It's some subtlety, but that's the missing link that makes the pre-REOs work.
All right. So now you have this property that's in kind of purgatory or limbo of some sort. And you have to get title to the property, but that takes a little while. So with this awesome program that you've kind of put together, you are repairing and renting the property during that limbo period. And we're going to talk about funding these properties too, because this is very different, but George has done something really exciting for you guys here. So just people understand what repairing and renting is, but do you have any, insights to kind of give there?
Yeah. I mean, these properties can vary from, hey, it needs nothing. I mean, some of these properties would be turnkey, probably need some cleanup. Others would need paint and carpet, cosmetic stuff. Others will need major work. So it can really run the gamut. The good news is that the price will reflect what the perceived value of the property is, which is considers those repairs.
All right. So yeah, you're repairing the property. Now you're renting the property. Do you have the receiver is renting the property, right?
The receiver is renting the property, so collecting rents.
On the lease, who is it the receiver's name?
It's the receiver, correct.
Okay, good. So you guys know how to rent properties. And if you're part of Connected Investors and have Contract Genie, you have these rental agreements in place right there. And you can even Airbnb rent these as well, right? Which you can kind of max, you can make more on each property, which is nice because if you do wind up foreclosing and getting title quick, you're not stuck in any sort of long-term lease. Now, George, I mean, would you recommend people lease it month by month? Or,
it's up to them. I mean, they may say, hey, this is a property that I want to keep long-term and they can find a good tenant. Maybe they want it to be for the next, multiple years. They want to stay. Yeah. Others, like you said, they may want to say, hey, I can sell this and do really well after I get title. So what I want to do is do short-term month-to-month leases or even Airbnb. And then as soon as I get title, I can, people move out, I can sell it.
Perfect. George, while you were talking, I thought of what I'm going to do for the t-shirts here.
What are you going to do?
What you have to do is just share this YouTube video on your social media. Send us a screenshot to support@connectedinvestors.com. And then we'll go ahead and throw your name into the drawing and you'll win a Connected Investors t-shirt. And I'll even sign a card for you and it'll be fun. It's the first time we've ever done anything like this, but I just want to have fun. So if you want one of these shirts, just share this video on your Facebook, take a screenshot and send it to support@connectedinvestors.com. And most people that do it will probably win the darn shirt. So yeah. I would just, nice. It's a free shirt. Let us know your shirt size. We'll reach out to you one way or another. So good. All sorts of free stuff when you attend the Exactly How podcast and YouTube show and you engage with us. That's all we're looking for. All right, George, now let's talk about something that individuals that are fixing and flipping might not have a lot of experience on, the foreclosure process. So when can you start the foreclosure process? How much does that cost? And are they doing it or are they just kind of signing the paperwork and someone else is doing it?
They're signing the paperwork and having a law firm do it. We work with a company called Activist Legal, which is nationwide. And what they can do is they can help facilitate receiverships and foreclosures nationwide. And what they'll do is they will get the information. They'll want to see the note, the mortgage, and they will start the foreclosure and start the receivership and get all those actions done for these pre-REO investors. The foreclosure actions in some states can take as short as a few months. In a state like New York, it can often take 2 years or more. So there is a wide gamut.
Think about that though. If you're the lender, 2 years to foreclose out on someone, you're going to want to get rid of that thing. So in the states where it's short, that's good if you want to get to the sale. But if you're like me and you like repeatable cash flow coming in every single month, then those long states, it doesn't really matter. And you have someone else kind of doing all that paperwork for you, which is really nice. I'll make sure on exactlyhow.com to have links to all of that. And even on the Loan MLS site where you can find all of these, I'll make sure to have links to all of these different professionals that can help you. I don't get any money from these professionals. I just want to make sure that you're pointed in the right direction here. So, well, great, George. Actually, what I want to do here is we're going to talk about title in a second.
Okay.
But when I was looking over some of these pre-REO deals, because I'm very interested in these as well, you have the ability to kind of sell or finance some of these with your company. Can you kind of explain how you can help people get into these deals? Because I'd imagine you can't go to a hard money lender and get money for this. You can't go to a bank and get money for this. It has to be kind of a personal person that that can write you a check, or you have the money in the bank in some way, but you also have a seller finance option as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're motivated to see this succeed and prove to the world that pre-REO is the way to go for lenders and for investors. So we're offering 75% financing on all these pre-REOs.
I thought you were doing 25%. You're doing 75%?
So the 25% down, we'll finance 75%. We'll finance at 9.9%, 3 years interest only. The expectation is just about every situation they'll be able to pay it off within 3 years. No prepayment penalty. So if you get it done in a few months or a year, you can pay it off early.
It's basically free. That costs you nothing. Like the money costs you.
Yeah, and there's no points or no fees or anything like that. Trying to make it attractive. Yeah, it's a good deal.
So let me just reverse engineer this. The foreclosure process. How much could that cost someone? Just give me a range. I know.
I would say anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000. $5,000, and it's a little bit less than $5,000, but allow for some extra fees. But that'd be like New York, because New York just everything takes longer, it seems, in that state for foreclosure. Gotcha. And then some of the place like Texas or California, it can go very, very fast without a Missouri, without even the law firms involved quarterbacking it. But there can be literally no court appearances in those states.
Awesome. And the only other fees that you have really to think about is you charge kind of buyer's premium fee on these.
Yeah, we charge $2,000. Oh, $2,000. Okay. $2,000. That's a flat fee for every asset that you buy. It's a buyer premium, kind of like auction.com charges, I think, $2,500. So we charge $2,000, and that's
Hold
how
on 1 second. I just want to tell everyone that depending on when you're watching this, that there's a very good chance that number might be more, right? If you look down at this, if this is like 3 or 4 years from now, or who knows? But right now, you can go to Loan MLS, look at these. The buyer premium's only $2,000. Maybe you have several thousand in foreclosure fees. 75% of it is seller financed. And this company can point you in a direction of all the professionals that you need to get to these type of deals done.
Absolutely.
Our people are going to be eating this stuff up, George. This solves a lot of problems for a lot of people. Now, let me ask this question. I would imagine that you want to deal directly with people that are putting up the money. Because I know there's a lot of people here who might not have the money, who might go out and try to find someone that wants to do these deals. You guys need, if that's going to be you need to go ahead and work out whatever you're going to work out on the side with that person for bringing this lead source. That's between you and whatever you do, but make sure that the buyer is the one that's talking with George and their company. If not, George can kind of cut you off from this, and then you don't have access to it. So we want to make sure that we're not, wasting George's time here with people who can't really close deals. So go find the people ahead of time and just work out whatever deal you need to. I get it. I've been that person before, right? But just please don't waste George's time. Make sure that you already have people in place. Is that fair, George? Because I know people are going to be doing it. So I just want to set the expectation that if you're wasting George's time, he's going to have to cut you off.
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, we're trying to make this high volume, and if we get we tell a lender, hey, we got this deal under, this guy's closing in 2 or 3 weeks, and then it shows up and they're wholesaling it and they can't find, the buyer downstream doesn't have cash, and it turns into a mess. So yeah, whatever deal they make, I mean, these should be attractive deals. There should be money to be made, but we need to be working with directly the person that is going to be putting up the money and doing these deals.
Great. Well, George, I think we really covered anything else. We'll go and throw in the show notes. If you have any questions, remember at YouTube, you can go ahead and type your questions in there. There's all sorts of good notes in the description, exactlyhow.com. We're going to break this down as far as we can. And based on the comments we see in the YouTube, we might even update that page if we didn't cover something. And I really want you guys to, to let me know about your success with these deals. The deals are scattered all over the country right now, but there's going to be more and more. So you can kind of take a look at the areas and just do some due diligence on what areas to buy in, even if it's not in your hometown. This could be a fantastic type of thing. So, George, let me ask you a quick question here. I mean,
sure.
What do you think your life would be like if you never realized that you were never going to make money riding bikes and you didn't find real estate?
I don't know. I'd always look for challenges. So I'd have found some other business or some other pursuit that would have challenged me. I mean, for whatever reason, I think a lot of entrepreneurs do this. We put ourselves in challenging situations almost just to prove, hey, I can make it work. But it's fun when, I don't know what it is, but something certainly in me drives me to find those conquests. It's why people, climb, the impossible mountain, rock climbing. They do the impossible things. No one says it can be done. Yeah, I'll do it. I'm not a rock climber, but if I was, that's what I'd be doing. Some crazy thing that everyone else says can't be done, yet I want to do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're being able to find inventory from the banks that makes sense is kind of a crazy thing that a lot of people said couldn't be done. And you've done it here. So thanks so much for taking the time to spend, educating our people on this. Now we're going to have some fun going over the rapid fire section of this show. You ready, George?
I'm ready.
First thing that comes to your mind. Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, how strict were your parents?
What's the lowest? 1?
Yeah.
Gotta be 1.
All right. Get up early or stay up late?
Get up early.
How many hours of sleep do you get?
6.5.
Favorite or most recent book that you read?
I'm reading Who right now. WHO.
Nice. If you can be any superhero, who would it be?
Flash.
Good one, man. Good one. Everyone just always says Superman, right? Because they can't think. What is something everyone should do less of?
Watch TV.
What's something everyone should do more of?
Exercise.
Bitcoin, bang or bust?
Bust.
And will people visit Mars in your lifetime?
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, George. And for everyone that is still with us, I know there's so many people that are still with us on this show. This show was highly entertaining, tons of value, a whole new kind of lead source for people. So you made it to the end of the show. You obviously found a lot of value. Please make sure to engage with us. Give us a thumbs up, comment, share. Let us know that you're there. The interaction that you give us fuels us to do even more. And remember, you can go to exactlyhow.com right now and get a bunch of free stuff, including this book. Here you go. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see what I'm doing here. And also all you have to do is share this on your social media and send a message over to support@connectedinvestors.com with a picture that you shared it. And we'll go ahead and rally up one of these shirts for you. So George, thanks again.
Thanks, Ross. Always a pleasure.
All right. And for everyone else, I'll talk to you on the next show.
The Connected Investors app connects you with investors, notifies you of available properties, helps locate cash buyers, and secure private funding to close deals. Set up in seconds to become a member of the Connected Investors social network. Now you can scroll through your main feed to find cash buyers, see investment properties not available to the general public, and network with investors by adding your own comments to a thread to keep the conversation going. The Control Center is your connection to add properties to sell, start new discussions, connect with local investors, and even find private funding. The Notifications tab will keep you alerted to new investment properties and offers. You'll also find new friend requests to connect directly with the community to build your network. From the property marketplace, you'll be able to find, favorite, and make offers on investment properties. Download Connected Investors today to find, figure, fund, and flip investment properties on the go.